And can Alvin Kamara and the Saints get their swag back? And these are some of the chief questions of our age. And Alvin Kamara was talking about with Cat Terrell about how in the past on these Saints team, like he's not used to losing, right? He's never been a part of this since he entered the league in 2017. The Saints have been excellent, winning record every year, right? Even last year, I believe. And talking about teams in the past, when they would get down in games, there would be no panic. It'd just be kind of like, all right, let's just go play football, y'all. Let's just go ball. But now with this team, then when things start to go awry, you sense a little panic. You sense a little anxiety. You sense a little fear. And the line that stuck with me is that after the Arizona game, he said that he entered the locker room and he felt, quote, that quiet. And I think we all know that quiet, right? It's one of the worst feelings. And it's not just in sports so often that way is where you find it, maybe in a losing locker room after a big game or something like that. But really in anything in life. It can be something tragic. It can just be something disappointing. Maybe you're a part of a team at work and y'all had a big goal and you failed to meet that goal. Like if you were a part of like a political election team, right? You find out you're having one of those election night parties and you find out that you lose. Like it's that quiet where the amount of noise does not at all speak to the number of people in the room. And everybody's hesitant to break the silence because what do you say? You failed. And Kamara entered the room. It had that kind of depressing quiet. And it was at that time when he said he felt compelled to speak up to the team. In a room full of sadness and bitter disappointment, he decided that he needed to say something as he continues to try to become more and more of a leader on this team. And it's a dangerous thing to do because in rooms that feature that quiet, I do find that sometimes speeches can fall on deaf ears, or if you are not respected, it can make people even more angry. Like if Russell Wilson enters that locker room and he tries to give that speech,
bro, sit down.
He will be clowned, laughed at, ignored, chided.
Who's giving that speech is all. I mean, that's everything.
Exactly. And AK can pull it off.
Yes,
I believe. And so he ends up giving his speech, and he basically implored the locker room to do just that. Find their mojo, find their groove, get the swagger back. Stop being scared, okay? Again, we already know. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, buy a dog. Because Alvin Kamara ain't scared. And I don't know if it is possible with this team for them to get their swag back, but at least Alvin Kamara is addressing the elephant in the room and basically calling people out and saying that, look, we all have to be better. We have to stop getting so down, and we just got to go find a way to go out there and win and not be scared of losing.
All right, so when somebody, at least in my experience in the NFL, when somebody who doesn't normally talks, you listen to every word.
Yeah,
because
that's who you can play.
Even the best leaders, if they've always been the leader, now you listen to what they say, but it's just another speech from the team leader. And certainly the quarterback on any team is going to kind of get that label. But when somebody that never really says something, and he's also a dude on the field, like it's going to stop you in your tracks and be like, man. And that guy for us was Sproles.
Yeah.
Darren Sproles didn't talk a lot. He wasn't a huge talker. Now, like in the running back room, like, yeah, we cut up and everything, but he was never a guy that was going to get out in front of the team, never going to break it down, never going to give the win one for the Gipper type. They wasn't going to do that. But in the year where we were 4-8 and we still had some things in front of us,
okay,
he was the guy that kind of got up there.
When did he do it? Do you remember the moment?
After we – God, who we lose to? I have to go back and look at the schedule.
But was it in a locker room that featured that?
Yeah,
quiet?
Because we had lost, I don't know how many in a row after, we didn't start off horrible, but then we fell into a stretch where we lost multiple games in a row. I'm trying to think, it might have been when we came back from London after we lost to the Saints, whoever that game was next, but he just like, this is nuts. I mean, and he starts laying out like, here's where we were this year, here's where we were last year, here's where we were before. And he's like, look around. All these people, you are the same people, one of those speeches. And he lit into us a little bit. And that just wasn't him. That wasn't his personality. And, of course, Sproles was handling everything on the field. He was handling everything in the weight room. Like, he was like the guy that you want to, hey, be like him. And so when he talked, everyone listened. Vets, rookies, staff, everyone.
And it's kind of funny because it almost sounds exactly like the speech that AK gave, where basically he called guys out and called for more accountability. And that yes, remember, we look around the room. Like, we know we are a better team than what our record dictates and than the product that we've been putting on the field. And maybe that's where Andy Dalton getting the nod here, maybe that starts to help a little bit, right? Provide some sort of stability, a clear expectation of who's going to play.
Here's the leader. Here's the quarterback. Here's the voice to listen to.
And so I'm going to be very interested because this is a bad Raiders team. What's the Raiders record right now? Is it 2-4 as well? I believe.
I think so. We'll confirm.
I think they got a win last week to make it 2-4. Either way, if you were talking about a game, if you were talking about a game that could potentially shift the feeling of the season, shift the direction of the season, getting a bad Raiders team that has even more bad press clippings than you, getting that team at home, and a bad Raiders team that really has no hope in the division, that is really exactly what the doctor ordered. Like, there are no easy outs in the NFL. Do not mistake me. I am not saying that. But on the relative NFL scale, this is a pretty friendly opponent when you got to have it, right? It's certainly friendlier than the Bucs having to contend with Lamar Jackson tonight, down 4 starters. Tom Brady's offensive line already putrid. He's missing multiple weapons, including Cam Brayton. We all know Tom Brady's not like playing without a big tight end to throw to. So, like, I think that, it's a pretty friendly situation for the Saints to get that swag back, to change the course of the season, to recognize that despite all the bad, they're actually completely fine in the NFC South, and maybe they get a little momentum going as they get guys back from injury, and then who knows what happens. We're looking for 9-8. 9-8 could maybe win you this division, and maybe not even 9-8, like 8-9 could potentially even win you this division. But it's got to start Sunday with the Raiders.
I've been in this situation before. The one I'm laying out, I'm looking at the schedule now, and I thought it was after the Saints game, but in fact, like, we won the Chiefs game after that. We had a 3-game losing streak, right? We go at Pittsburgh, we go Colts at home, Falcons at home, and we were 4-8. We were 4-8 after the Falcons lost, and I remember it being at Qualcomm, so I wasn't sure which game it was. It was after the Falcons lost. We lose 22-16, but then we rolled off 4 in a row. We beat the Raiders, Chiefs, Buccaneers, and Broncos, and it was after that Atlanta Falcons game that Sproles in the locker room, like, because we should have never lost to the Falcons team. It was Matt Ryan's rookie year, and we played awful.
Matty Ice.
And we were at one point, we were 3-3 on the year, and then we ended up 4-8. So I mean, we went through a bad stretch. I mean, you talk about the quiet.
1-5, dude.
I mean, the quiet. You talk about pin drop in a locker room after you lose 3 straight, right, to the Steelers, Colts, and Falcons. You lose 5 of 6. And still found a way to make the playoffs. And it was because, look, I mean, I'm telling you, that refocused us. And we had the Raiders, and that helped too, the fact that we had the Raiders, because we hated the Raiders.
So, wait, it was the Raiders. And this feels like a good omen. You're saying it was the Raiders that righted y'all ship again that year?
Yeah.
Okay, dude. Sproles giving speeches, Kamara giving speeches, Raiders on the docket both times.
Sprole's a former Saint.
Did we just figure it out? Is there an incoming hot streak, boys?
Engaged.
I think we got our swagger back. Let's go. Slingshot time, baby. But seriously, I hope so. that would be sick. But it does start with guys like Alvin Kamara, who's really been excellent since Dalton became the quarterback and has seemed to refine his own mojo in a lot of ways. So get it fixed, okay? The offense is actually fine if you clean up the turnovers. I mean, better than fine, as we just said. Since Dalton took over top 5 in yards, points, and third, like, those are the 3 most important stats to be good at offensively: yards, points, and third down conversion rate. They're top 5 in the NFL right now. I have to imagine the defense can still figure it out. I have to. You get Lattimore back. Maybe more time on task for the safeties gets them going. We'll have to see. But what is the latest on Marshall Lattimore? Have you all
he didn't practice yesterday.
No.
Okay. Well, that sucks, but whatever. Win the game on Sunday against the Raiders, and all is right in the world. In fact, win the game Sunday, and you likely are going to be in a tie for first place in this division. So,
I mean, nobody actually likes the Raiders, do they? I mean,
people in Vegas, I
They got sweet uniforms.
yeah, they do have cool uniforms. I don't actually like
objectively, you're probably right.
So the only this is what I'll say about the Raiders, and I do like that black hole Death Star of a stadium that they built. Like, that's like the murdered out mini in stadium form.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough.
Definitely not the Coliseum that they used to play in.
Uh,
That thing was
It
terrible.
looks like a Roomba to me.
It does look like a Roomba.
I don't care what it looks. I mean, if
But it's
you,
still
listen,
cool inside.
Listen, if you
cool
had to
inside.
play in the Q Nasty, Candlestick, the Coliseum, any of those California stadiums before they built the new ones, you don't care if it looks like a vacuum cleaner. You're just happy to get out of where you were.
nobody's stadium from
As
the
far
outside.
as the stadium, I wish the Chargers were still in San Diego in a new stadium, but
Nobody's stadium from the outside is as ugly as the Texas Rangers stadium. I mean, they set the bar.
That was
They just
bad.
made a giant tin warehouse, essentially. But yeah,
Where are they building a new stadium that it looks like a Whole Foods from the outside? Tennessee, yeah. The new model
Oh,
of
the
the Titan
Titans
Stadium.
one?
Yeah, they say it looks like a giant Whole Foods.
yeah, I could see that. Which I mean, that's not the worst thing. I mean, look, just put a bunch of trees. All these renderings always have trees, but the trees rarely actually show up. Just put a bunch of greenery around it, make it feel like it's a little more one with nature, and I think it always looks cooler.
Dang, you're right.
SoFi Stadium was tight because if they had like a waterfall next
Yeah,
to it,
there you go.
and they got it's like they got a bunch of trees and like you said,
I
Landscape
need to see
architecture
that. I
is a
can't
hell
believe
of
I
a
haven't
thing,
seen
dude.
that. I was supposed to go last weekend.
Yeah, I thought you had.
I had alumni weekend. Yeah, it was supposed to be last weekend, and when you have 37 children and you kind of want to go to LSU Ole Miss as well, and then I had some stuff going on, and so those plans got scrapped to next year. It's okay, we'll make it 1 year. And plus they got whipped by Seattle, so maybe it was a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, here's hoping they can do that. They get their group back. But no, I don't think I hate the Raiders. I think I'm pretty Raiders ambivalent.
Oh, I hate them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense. AFC West and all that.
Hey, real quick, because we're sitting here talking about the
Yeah.
Saints, and I want to get this in before we move on. The Saints' highest graded defensive players, the top 5, were all defensive linemen.
Wait, what?
Against the Cardinals, their top 5 graded defensive players were all defensive linemen.
Wow, that is odd.
Like, it's not me giving a shout out to the defensive line. It's me kind of talking about the other levels.
Just talking about how bad the other levels of the
Yeah.
defense are.
Yeah, now Tyron was the highest rated non-defensive lineman, but when you get down to the bottom and you get down to Alante Taylor, who looks like he's still playing with a limp. Am I wrong? Like,
A little
he looked
bit.
like he was limping.
They're running out of bodies out there, though.
I mean, I didn't look. Alante Taylor, give you credit because it looks like you're playing hurt and you're
Yeah.
a young player and you want to get out there. My man looks like he's got concrete on one foot because he's just walking like Zion a little bit out there.
Zion walks.
He graded out at 49.8. Chris Harris, I've played with Chris Harris in Denver, great teammate, great player. I think he'll actually help you once he gets back into the rhythm of being out there.
Yeah, maybe.
Justin Evans, 34.1, and the tape showed it.
So crazy. Secondary was thought
Justin
to be
Evans is
the
a little
strength
bit
of
of
this
a-
team.
A little bit of a question for me. I mean, he was out of football for a while, injuries, and just like hasn't seen like real game action in a very long time. And the Saints have put him out there maybe more than anybody else. And I know the bodies and they're down a little bit, but it's been a really tough stretch for him in the last 3 games.
Yeah,